You are live.
Good morning, everyone. So today is our occasional basic all and everything Q&A. Feel free anywhere in the Dharma to ask questions. If I don't know the answer, we'll see if we have any scholars in the audience who know the answer. I'm not a scholar, just an old cave yogi. Nobody special. Dorji Sempagarab Dorji Dan Shire Singabadu Shinlabde Dedamazantara Tusumchi Zogchenju Pelamala Solwa Deb Again Pema Junela Solwa Deb Dorji Chang Chitilu Narodang Marpa Mila Gomputsatapa Na Pupadang Paldendrupa So Kargila Manamla Solua Deb Ochen Lamanamla Solua Deb Druchen Lamanamla Solua Deb Kaginwari Lamanamla Solua Deb Shakya Lamanamla Solua Deb Nyandu Dayandran Lamanamla Solua Deb Pakandu Zhongdang Yerme Pa Gwangarab Dorji Shintragpa Jetidang Nisume Pai Palamanam Chetente Chung. So what have you got for me today?
Well, the first question up is, can you discuss why we emanate different colored lights in deity sadhanas?
Symbolism. Deity sadhanas are Tantra. In Tantrayana, it is based on the symbolism used for transformance. Different colors have different symbols. And when you mix two colors, like red-black, for instance, so you are symbolizing the passion of love, of mating, of lust, purified into the pure bodhisattva, mixed in with the ferocity of Mama Bear looking after her cubs. So in this way, we work with the different colors in symbolism, and there are a variety of symbols, elements symbolized, feelings symbolized, concepts even symbolized, in the different forms, their colors, their accoutrements, their clothing. Next question.
Here it is. I watched the video about offering to spirits, and you used blessed medicine or mindru for the bumpa, if I heard correctly. Please tell me what it is and where I can find it.
You get it from lamas. Most lamas have some that they give out. I certainly do when I see people. It is made ceremonially by taking certain herbs that hold energy well, traditionally aru-paru and churu, and imbibing them with the energy of the Dharma, infusing them with that energy. And then it is a stored form of that energy, which can be shared with others. Next time you see a lama, ask for some mendrup. Next question.
What should I do if I've lost the inspiration and motivation to practice?
Oh, go back to Lam Rim for a while. Contemplate impermanence. The Four Turning Minds. Balga Rinpoche does a good teaching on that. It's up on the website. So do so many others. When you realize how unusual it is to be fully human and have the opportunity to practice Dharma. For example, a young woman with 3 kids under 5 years old, trying to support them and raise them on her own, doesn't have time to practice Dharma. She does not have precious rebirth during those years while they're so little. She has no opportunity. She doesn't have the leisure needed. That changes. They can change the other way too. You can lose your health, wealth, and leisure in an instant. Invest it in something that crashes. Get sick. Have medical bills if you're in America. Just be sick if you're someplace else. When you understand how truly rare it is to have the opportunity and how impermanent that opportunity is, and how much suffering arises in existence, you would be inspired. So go back and contemplate the Four Turning Minds. They're for the purpose of inspiration. Next.
If I have some inexorable pull towards Dzogchen specifically, should I just roll with that? Is intuition a good reason to follow a path?
It is a good reason to check out a path. Yes, roll with that. But that does not mean abandoning everything else. That means finding a qualified teacher and beginning to study Dzogchen and seeing if it works for you. If you can do it or if it's too simple. And you want something more fancy that dweebles and blinks like Tantra. Next.
Could you tell us a little bit about the 12 Vadra laughs and the 9 amazing things?
No, because I don't have the text out here with me. Nor do I remember exactly where I put it. However, Nyando, could you make a note of that for something for me to do at another time? That needs a text. I'm not going to try to do that off the cuff. My memory is not what it once was. I'll miss something. We'll do that as a pop-up somewhere. And next question.
What practice can I do remotely for my cousin who is in a removed village and is struggling with mental health?
Manis. Om Mani Padme Hum. Offering butter lamps. Recitation of Parchi Lamzo. Removing hindrances. You can also remotely arrange, and you have to get a professional to do this. It's much too complex for me to teach you how. To do a dur, to rebalance their elements, which would help them. That can be done remotely. I think sometimes you just need a piece of their clothing, and you need their willingness to have you do it. So that means contacting a professional. If you wish to be put in touch with a professional who knows how to do that, I would say the best come through the bond, so contact Tenzin Wangyal to see who's doing that around where you are these days. Next question.
How well should our Shamatha meditation be developed to practice Dzogchen? How can we say that it is good enough?
To practice Mahamudra, that is not Dzogchen, that is Chogchen. Your Shamatha meditation has to be pretty good. Pretty good as in you can rest in Shamatha for some time without growing restless or irritated. Sometime being maybe 20 minutes, sometimes longer. For Dzogchen, it is not a pre-requirement. It can be entered from the other end. My teacher tried to teach me Mahamudra first. Couldn't do it. Couldn't get the Shamatha. Very active mind. So he taught me Dzogchen instead and taught me to enter Shamatha from the other side. From not the side of stillness, but the side of awareness. And for me, that was more effective because I could not get Shamatha to work in those years. Hey, I was in my 20s. I was active. I was scatterbrained. I was nutty, all over the place. Maybe I still am. Next question.
What is a good way to ask our getum deity for wisdom regarding situations in life?
Use words. Out loud. Speech chakra. Write a prayer asking for that. If you cannot find one that has been translated. And in your own language. Out loud, at least 3 times repeated. During the sadhana. Just before the Dhyani Buddhas provide the bumpa and the initiation and you become the deity, while the deity is still the deity, the archetype is still experienced as external as it is in the very beginning of most sadhanas. That's the time to say that prayer, ask your request. And then continue with the sadhana where the initiation, self-initiation occurs with the bumpa and the initiating deities, also known as the Dhyani Buddhas, and you go on. Next question.
And a related question, what is the best getum for a comedian?
Stand-up professional comedian or just somebody who likes to laugh? If you're a stand-up professional, I'd go with Kurukuli. If you're simply someone who likes to laugh, oh goodness, any of them. The laughter is in there. I'm really ripping through these. Next question.
Well, there's a lot, so
Okay.
They're just coming rapid fire today. When you don't have a real life guru or lama, can Padmasambhava be your guru?
Absolutely. By the way, guys, you want to know the trick to finding a real life lama? It's really quite simple. There are actions of body, speech, and mind that you perform that creates the cause for you to encounter the person with whom you have that proper karmic relationship. The actions of body are to perform actions causing others to come together with their teacher, giving people rides to teachings, paying their train or airfare, offering that so that they can meet with their teacher, sponsoring teachings so that others can encounter their teacher. Anything you can do to facilitate someone else coming together, meeting with their teacher, are the actions of body. The actions of speech are the 7-line prayer and the Guru Rinpoche mantra. The actions of mind are to pray, to wish. Every time you have a wish, pick a dandelion, see a star, anything that symbolizes a wish to you, make use of it and wish that all beings may find the teacher who can karmically show them how to bring their mind through to full enlightenment. If you do these 3 categories of things, you will find your teacher because you've created the karma for it. It's very simple. Until such time, you can use Guru Rinpoche, Tsongkhapa, Primordial Buddha, Kuntu Zongpo, Kuntu Zongmo, depending on your lineage orientation if you have one. Next question.
It's not a question so much as a suggestion. Yesterday, during Flight of the Garuda, you talked about maybe moving on to another series after that.
Mm-hmm.
And they're suggesting Keith Dowman's Spaciousness, the Radical Dzogchen of the Vajra Heart, Longchenpa's Treasury of the Dharmadata.
I have been considering Longchenpa.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what the actual text is that Keith Dowman is calling that, so I'd have to look at the book and see what the Tibetan text is called to know if I've had the lung in Tibetan or not. Next.
Okay. I'd like to donate my organs, but Tibetans believe you hang around for many days. How do the doctors know I am gone?
You don't hang around inside the body. You hang around nearby. Once rigor mortis sets in and morbid lividity, you're gone. However, for harvesting organs, they try to do it quite quickly. You may still be there, but you won't feel it. And the virtue of offering that is very great, even though it may create some minor disturbance to the body. Most people don't hang around very long, about the time it takes to eat a meal. And in that hanging around, the red substance and the white substance have come together here, and you're that. So you're not in the organs anymore. You're not really in the channels. So it's not like you're going to feel as they take your retina, liver, and heart. I myself am an organ donor because the Bodhisattva involved in giving the gift of your body, not just symbolically in chud, but in what you think is reality, is very great. And to those who receive those organs, also very great. I will go either for donation to medical science as well as organ donor, or ecological burial, since I can't do sky burial around here. We're too overpopulated to pull that off. We don't have enough buzzards. And that is if they ever find my bones. Next question.
The next question's related. How can we prepare for death And what are we supposed to do during the process of dying as Dzogchen practitioners?
Chin up, tits to the wind. Whee! Prepare for dying by practicing meditation. Death is not frightening. Any more than going to sleep at night and waking up in the morning needs to be. If you do bardo practice and you become quite familiar with the bardo, or if you do dream yoga and you become quite familiar with the bardo of dreams, you will probably find dying not too difficult. It's actually kind of fun. I mean, people spend a lot of money to get high like that. That's a hell of a high. Best roller coaster. By practicing Trekcha, you may well recognize the first bardo of clear sky. By practicing dream yoga, you may well recognize the bardo of becoming. By practicing Tantra, you are likely to recognize the bardo of the channels and archetypes. So I would say prepare by practicing these things. Next question.
Recently, upon studying and meditation practices, I realized I was overwhelmed with how little knowledge I have in Buddhism. Is that normal? I feel so incompetent.
That's a feeling. Everybody has feelings. Everybody feels incompetent at times. Read some books. If it's just a lack of knowledge, read. Listen. If you really want the basic knowledge of Tibetan Buddhism, go to Lama Yeshe Lama Zopa's site. They do a lot of basic knowledge stuff there. And they do it so well, I haven't tried to repeat it. If you want more of a Sutrayana traditional Buddhism, I can't offer you a website for that, but there are books. Many, 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 many books. If you choose to find more knowledge by wandering around the internet, please be extremely careful. There are some real nutcases out there claiming to teach Tibetan Buddhism and teaching some weird shit they made up. So, check it out. I would suggest you do a bunch of reading in Lotsawa House, which has nicely translated original texts. Pretty reliable. Keith Dalman is mostly into Dzogchen these days. Read some Lama Yeshe. Listen to some Lama Yeshe. He's got some nice basics out there, including how Tantra works, how Tumo works, really nice stuff. That kind of ignorance, lack of knowledge, is easily cured by reading books, listening to discourses, and the like. So that's not really a problem except for very temporarily. Now let's go to your feeling. what did they call that feeling? One of incompetence?
Yeah, that's the word they
No,
use.
dear, you just haven't read the books yet. What's incompetent about that? Everybody has a before and after they read a book. I mean, if you'd already read it, you wouldn't read it now, probably, unless you really liked it. So, understanding that you're not at all incompetent, that's probably something deeper, something that got stuck on you in childhood. You might want to try some Vajrasattva on your sensation of incompetence, especially if it goes through a lot of other subjects as well. Because some people get indoctrinated with that sensation of not being good enough, very young, of being stupid, of being incompetent, when all it is there's just a set of facts that they haven't learned yet because they didn't encounter them. So if you're actually stuck in a repeater there with the sensation of incompetence, the simplest thing you can do with it is visualize that sensation of being incompetent as centipedes and spiders and scorpions and other creepy crawlies in your channels, and wash it out with a nice Vajrasattva. How to do Vajrasattva in depth, go see the video. I've got one up, but I'm pretty sure several other people do too. It's a simple practice. Next question.
I'm getting Nagpa ordination in August. I have a question about the shawl. Is it worn at all occasions with all Sangha or just with practice with other Nagpas?
It's worn in all ceremonial occasions. The equivalent would be, I guess, in Christian church on Sunday, you put on nice clothes and a hat. Or at least I think that's what I've seen people do. You are respecting the ceremony, so you put on your Nagpa shawl. When you're doing dharma things, don't wear it to work in the garden. As a respect for that. What kind, from who, what lineage Nagpa ordination are you receiving? I'm quite curious, because usually it's included in a wong, rather than given separately, except in certain lineages it's given separately. So I'm really curious in which one. You can type that back in if you like at some point and let me know. Just by curiosity, I get to ask questions too. Next question.
Let's see. How do I obtain Chakra samvara robes? I am qualified for it, but I don't know where to get it.
What are Chakra samvara robes? I've not heard of that before. Is it something in the Galupa line? Monk's robes? You know, the Galupa line goes for monk's robes, and then you get this golden thing. Oh, I have it in the other room, that you can put on top when teaching. But I don't know what Chakra samvara robes are. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I don't know everything in the universe, and I'm mostly Nyingma. Mostly. Next question.
What is the difference between the concepts of Rigpa and the nature of mind?
They're spelled differently. They're as concepts. The concept of nature of mind refers to all and everything. As a concept, the concept of Rigpa refers to awareness as all and everything. When you take both of those beyond concept and follow them home to that which the concept is pointing at, there actually isn't a difference. But as concepts, there is subtle difference. including the spelling. Next.
Follow up on the Chakra samvara robes is, yes, it's through the Gelugpa line.
Okay, so I did not take that in the Gelugpa line, so I don't know about it. However, check eBay. You can get anything on eBay, pretty much.
That's true.
If you know what they're supposed to look like, go look. That's where I found my summer zen. My winter zen's from Bhutan, but it's too warm for traveling in the summer. So the summer zen, which is rayon rather than brit, which is the old tradition, and much more comfortable, I found it on eBay. Next question.
Is Kundalini the same as Tumo? Do you have any advice for someone who is going through a difficult Kundalini process, i.e. blockages, pressure, and involuntary movements?
So I do not know if Kundalini, which is a Hindu way of phrasing things, is the same as the tantric way of phrasing things called Tumo. I have not practiced anything called Kundalini to be able to tell you if it is the same or not. However, if you are going through some difficulties with rising chi, which is what I understand the intellectual description of Kundalini to be, you would treat it as the Tibetans treat rising chi, which is called the disease lung and soklung when it gets caught in the heart. And first aid, French fries and beer. And then get yourself to an Ayurvedic, traditional Chinese medical, or Tibetan doctor for the proper medication. It's an illness. If you try to rise things through channels which are not properly prepared for this, and when the circumstances are not conducive for it to rise smoothly and easily, the symptoms you describe are the symptoms one gets. I treat it medically, and then go back and do the necessary purification practices to clean out your channels and your environment. No fireplace, no secondhand smoke, no incense, really clean air, no air pollution. You may have to move to do Kundalini properly if that's what you're trying to do. But if you're working with the Kundalini system, you need to speak with a Hindu guru about this. I am not trained in that system. I can only speak what happens when we have accidents with Tumo, is we hand them a unfiltered live beer with good live brewer's yeast in it, which is high in vitamin B, and some really greasy, salty French fries. With cheese sauce, if possible, or mayonnaise. Root vegetable. I'm keeping this vegetarian. If you're not vegetarian, bacon. Lots of bacon will do it. Drops the lung right down into your gut. And at least gets you to stop twitching long enough to get to see a doctor and get the proper medications. Do not practice Kundalini or Tumo without the proper instructions, please. They're prone to accident. You need to do them right and in the right circumstances to avoid the potential accidents that can happen. They are not safe practices. Dharma is not safe. Just like jumping out of the window of the second story of a burning house is not safe. It's simply better than staying in the burning house. Next question.
One of our Spanish viewers asks, this is about searching for a guru or a lama.
Mm-hmm.
What if the problem is not finding one teacher but having many, and the difficulty is following the instructions of one? Is it possible
Do
to
the
have...
practice that I gave you. It'll sort itself out. Generally, there's one root guru and several heart gurus. Your problem arises when you, in your understanding, their instructions are conflicted. Now look. How can I do this? Okay. Here is an object. See the object? I'm pointing at the object. Now I'm pointing at the object. Now I'm pointing at the object. Now I'm pointing at the object. But I was pointing in every possible different direction at the same object. When your teachers appear to be giving you instructions that don't agree, that's what's going on. They're all pointing at the same thing. Your root guru is whosoever shows you the totality of yourself, the nature of your own mind, open awareness, in such a way that you actually recognize it. That person is now your root guru. You may never see them again. They may not be the one who holds your hand through the path. Hand holders are heart gurus. Lama Yeshe was a heart guru of mine. Wangdor Rinpoche was both root guru and heart guru. Many others. Anikata, Lama Lamke, Nine-Fingered Top Gel. These are heart gurus of mine. I had the good fortune to have my root guru also be a heart guru. That doesn't happen to everybody. And that's okay. Most people have both. Next question.
Do you know any practices, however advanced, that can help or enable the physical body to change its physical or biological sex, hormonal, chromosome, gonadal, and so on?
Yeah, death.
No question.
Go for next time. I alternate. Guy last time, female this time. What the fuck? I'm non-binary. We're all non-binary. We just have bodies at the moment. Sorry, the science hasn't quite gotten there yet. Give it another couple of 100 years and we should have sex change down so that it's a lot easier and less messy than we're having it right now. That's why I decided not to go for it in the years it might have been useful. Who you are is not a gender. There is no such real thing as gender. It's a symbol. If you work well with dream yoga and bardo practices and do monlam, pretty much guarantee your gender of choice next time. I usually don't bother choosing. Interestingly enough, I'm usually much more intelligent and literate when I'm female, and much more spontaneous when I'm male, but that's just me. Oh no, I was a really prig of a scholar one time, so that's not true. He was quite intelligent. He just had a stick up his ass. I've been a lot of idiots. So have you. Probably will be again as things go. Best I can give you is work on that. It's never been something we've particularly tried, seen as one transcends gender. And although Kuntu Zangpo are sometimes portrayed as two in union, that's actually a singular, not a double. It is the union of yin and yang. It is the non-binary point that is neither masculine nor feminine that is the goal. The other thing you can do is Trekcha and Togyao, because if you go rainbow, you can manifest as anything. Male, female, donkey, your choice. So that would also work. Next question.
What practices done alongside Dzogchen might aid writing music or other creative endeavors?
One of the 21 Taras. The one that is creativity number. I don't have the text in front of me. I can't give you the number, damn it. Go look at the text. Nayando, that's actually a question worth answering. Do you think you could grab me my big Tara text and give me one more question to riff off while you go? It's green, it's thick, and it's like wrapped and looks like the size of a Tibetan text.
Okay, and it's in the...
And it's in the bookcase.
All right.
I'm out in the studio, and since I share my studio with a chiropractor once a month, what happens is I move in and out with my stuff. I move out of my studio for a week so that she can look after all my friends and fix their backs. So because of that, my books are not out here. But that's worth looking up. I just need to look at the text. Give me a question to riff on.
Okay, one moment.
See if you got something that I can say a lot on while you fish for that.
Okay. I had it in front of me. Give me a moment. There we go. Can you talk about Amitabha practice? I have been reading about it and not sure how to understand it. Do I take the vows literally, or is it a metaphor for something else?
Vows of Amitabha? You mean the prayers of Amitabha? Sorry, that one's not going to work until I figure out what vows he or she is talking about.
A different question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, never mind the Tara text, because it's the one that Nayando, Sarasvati. It's the one that's Sarasvati of the 21 Taras. Go look it up yourself. Sarasvati among the 21 Taras. It's the one that's the equivalent of her. That would be your tantric practice to add into your Dzogchen that would increase creativity. If Martin is online translating, he knows her name as the 21 Taras because I named his kid that. I just can't have it come to my mind right now. And we can take another question unless someone has told me what Amitabha vows are.
Okay, not yet. In the meantime, there's a question. How can we use a Dorji to aid Trekshig practice?
By considering it to be a symbol of the ultimate Bodhisattva. Of the fullness of the emptiness. What is it full of? It is full of vitality and lucidity, clear light. That which is so empty, nothing can even enter it. It is too empty, therefore it is indestructible. By going through its symbolism, you may find it useful. Next question.
Martin gave a reply.
Okay.
The name is Yangchen Drolma, or Yangdro.
Yangchen Drolma of the 21 Taras. There we go. That's the one that Sarasvati that I was having a nominal aphasia on. Yes.
That's the one for creativity. All right. Let's see. Another question. What is drawnpa? Is that a thought?
Spell.
D-R-A-N space P-A.
Well, pa is the ER suffix. Drawn. Not sure. Use it in a sentence. You may have a different dialect pronunciation than I'm familiar with sufficiently for me to not recognize the word. Next question.
How do I practice dharma magic from the Chakra samvara root tantra text for siddhis? This is related to the previous one question.
Sorry, dear, that's Galupa. I have not studied it. I have studied Lam Rim, Tumo, some exercises in the Galupa system, but I have not. I've had the Wong of Chakra Samvara, but I have not studied that. So you're going to have to ask a teacher who is trained in that. I believe Lama Lobsang of Philadelphia is familiar with that. And you might want to discuss this with him if you can find him somewhere. Who else do I know that's actively involved in that particular work? Check on FTPMC and see if they've got anything there on it. But I have not done that practice myself, so I can't help you. Next question.
For the Amitabha question, it's about the vow to help sentient beings.
Your basic bodhisattva. Amitabha can be perceived in a number of ways. There is the way you explain it to children. Where he has a pure land, which is beautiful and safe, warm and cozy, with no sadness or danger, no danger of falling out. You can stay as long as you want, live as long as you want. Everybody's friendly, there's no bullies. Everybody's the same gender, everybody's a monk, so there's no gender issues. And to enter there, all you have to do is remember Amitabha in the bardo. You see, Amitabha has, throughout the bardo, infinite hooks that he created by Monlam. All you need to do is make a loop, and he can pull you into his pure land. If you don't make a loop, he can't catch you. To make a loop, all you have to do is think Opame, or the mantra Om Amideva Hri. This is for the children. For the yogis, the innate life force of the universe, which is of the nature of love, beyond the little sticky loves you're used to that come and go. But the true bodhisattva is in itself innate vitality and lucidity, the clear light nature of the Dharmakaya. It is that which sparkles with the creativity of the Nirmanakaya. It is inherently the nature of the emptiness of the Dharmakaya, this clear, transparent light. And this itself, light beyond compare, bright beyond compare, is the nature of that which is called Opame, whose name is light, incomparable light, indescribable light, unutterable light. And that very light, which is the light of Bodhicitta, the real Bodhicitta, the innate vitality of the clear light nature, its lucidity. You're that. So there's two versions. Now, as for the vow to enlighten all beings, how could you not? We're all in this together, guys, for the children. And it's not like there's a separate innate clear light for separate individuals and bugs and birds and fish and things. The innate vitality of awareness pervades all phenomena. You can't separate out this piece from that. And all sentient beings arise as all Buddhas in the fourth time. And that has always been so. And that also is Opame, Amitabha. For the children, Amitabha, from his own side, in his personness, created infinite monlams, wish paths, said out loud ceremonial prayers, to create the cause, that he himself shall enlighten all beings by this method and give them safety and ease, and that realizations, he shall create a pure land in which realizations are not required to enter. Just a loop, a single mantra. And so you have certain sects like Pure Land Buddhas who focus on the mantra, or Dzogchenpas who realize that shit happens and that sometimes they behave like an idiot, and use it as an insurance policy in case you miss, because you might. Next question.
One of our Spanish viewers asks, during my practice, I've had the experience of being nobody and of being others. It has scared me, and I also have surrendered to it. Is there something to do about it?
No, keep going. You're doing great. This is normal. Of course you feel that. You experience that. As your bubble, knot of self-focusedness begins to unravel. You could speed this up by doing some good Tonglen with a good pop. But you might not want to speed it up if it's scaring you. You can do it slowly too. But as that begins to sort of not unravel so much as become more and more transparent and you can see through it, these are normal occurrences. Just go with it. Keep going. You're on the right path. Those are nyams. They're excellent signposts. They tell us you're on the right path. Now it's up to you not to grab the nyam, but just keep walking. Got it? Next.
Do you recommend practices with Dakini Ekajati? Is she a wisdom Dakini?
She is queen of the Mamos. Eminently kind. And not the least bit nice. She is a protector, of Dzogchen, and also of the Suryagupta lineage of 21 Taras, her and Marzia, who is also known as Ozurchenmo. These two are not usually taken as yidams. Yes, they are wisdom dakinis, but also they are protectors. Better you take a fully fleshed out energy of a yidam as your yidam and have these as an adjunct, your protectors that you work with. Next question.
You once told the story you had the capacity to manifest wishes for a certain time. How can one develop that capacity?
Oh, Jesus, no. Really? Well, I'll tell you, but I bet you won't do it. By not wanting anything whatsoever for a long time. It came as a side effect as my sadhu training when I was training in the Hindu paths, before I ever made it up to the Tibetans or met any. Down, up above, up the Ganges towards the source, past Rishikesh, past all the tourist places, up in the jungles there. I had a teacher who had not spoken for 30 years, which caused our language, my lack of particular Hindi, to be less of a problem. He was really good at pantomime. And I lived wild in the jungle, and I wanted for nothing. And should a want arise, a simple want like lunch, food, it would manifest. For you to live like that without wants would be incredibly difficult in this culture. And yet, that is how the minor wish-fulfilling cities arise. They don't last if you don't maintain them. You spend them and use them up just like money. In fact, you can get anything you want a lot easier by accumulating a whole bunch of money and using it that way. At least you know how much you have left. And with this, when it runs out, it's kind of sudden. It's like, it stopped working. These little mundane cities, this is why they say a yogi, should he find himself by chance able to fly, is strongly advised not to fly over large bodies of water, especially if he can't swim. It wears off, usually at the most inopportune time as possible. So, better you go for the real wish-fulfilling jewel. Realize Bodhisattva, and it will occur. Work on that. Next question.
What are your views on Tibetan oracle practices?
I haven't studied them. Oh, I've learned how to do a few mows. They seem to work. In the hands of a skilled practitioner, I'm sure they do. I've studied in more depth Druid oracle practices, and they work very nicely. It's not that hard to be an oracle. But I have not studied very much of the traditional Tibetan methods, so I can't tell you that. Hey, I put myself through school as a palm reader and tea leaf reader. That's not hard. Until fairly recently, I wrote a palmistry column in a magazine. I think I only stopped doing that last year. I haven't heard from Soma for a while, so I guess that's not happening.
No, nothing's come through.
That's
from them.
fine. Next question.
What is the best way to get through the difficulties that arise during Dundro?
Keep going. Stubbornness. Next question.
Okay. If we can reach enlightenment in a short time in a pure land, what is the point of doing so many tiring practices?
If you are not enjoying them and simply find them tiring, why don't you just work on the Amitabha mantra and prayers? That'll work. It's not so much you get enlightened in a short time in a pure land. It's rather that you have plenty of time. You can stay there until you get enlightened, even if it takes an eon. It depends on just how much your life hurts, just how much crap you have to deal with. It's a burning house. If it starts to hurt as you burn, it is highly recommended that you make your way to a window and jump out now. But if you're not suffering and don't think you will, you don't mind being old, sick, alone, and dying, which is likely, eventually, then you might as well wait for next time and just do Amitabha. Yeah? But if you do mind being old, sick, and dying, that's going to happen in this life. A bit of practice will make it a hell of a lot easier. Next question.
Do you have any advice for working with a chronic progressive illness like MS? I already do medicine Buddha practice. Fear and hope are a big part of the challenge, along with unpleasant physical symptoms, which are likely to get worse over time.
Yeah. And even if you did not have a chronic illness, you do. All of us have a chronic illness, which is life. Because you will get old and die, and aging is a chronic illness. So yours may be affecting you a bit younger than mine, but we're all going that way, and yes, it will be uncomfortable. My advice is Dzogchen because it's fast. My advice is learning to work with thought, emotion, and perception. In that order, those three retreats, if done effectively and practiced effectively, will lead you to a perspective beyond time and space, where the hope, the fear, the physical sensations, and the thoughts about them will remain transparent for you, and as such, not be problematic. Oh, they'll still be there. You may still kvetch about it a bit. but it will be with some humor. It does make it easier for those of us who are suffering a chronic illness, such as MS or old age, and dying. Next question.
A follow-up on the Keith Dowman book.
Yes.
From Martin. He says the title is Cho Yenso, the Treasury of Dharma Dhatu.
I don't think I have the lung for that.
Among the questions we have, what personality types are more suitable for Dzogchen? What about Mahamudra?
If you like things, if you absolutely insist on things being linear, first, second, third, fourth, you may do well with Mahamudra, which is broken down that way. So, when you come to a swimming pool in the summer, you're still dry, you haven't been in yet. How do you get in? Do you walk in and splash yourself and acclimatize, or do you walk out on the diving board and dive in? Diving board, Dzogchen. Walking in and splashing yourself is Dzogchen. However, this is only mostly, not always. So I recommend you pick the one that you think and give it a try. See if it works for you. If you have trouble with it, try the other. Yeah. It's okay to try both. There is a little period of time where the practice diverges, but they come together again later on. So it's only for a certain part that they're practiced differently, that the order of operation is different. They really go to the same thing. Once you reach a certain point in either one, they're quite interchangeable. Next question.
I was introduced to Yeshe Sogyal sadhana practice. I am overwhelmed with the Tibetan and feel I am just mumbling. Is it okay to do the sadhanas in English except for the Sanskrit?
Some lamas say so. Some lamas say not. Myself and my root teacher are of the not category, but that doesn't mean we are right about this. It may be different for different students. There is in the Tibetan words a sonic element in the chanting and in the poetry and in the meaning, and I have never yet seen an English translation, no matter how good, including my own, actually take the entire symbolic twilight speech meaning of the Tibetan into English. So these are my reasons for preferring the Tibetan and the rhythm and the chant. However, you may need to do it in English for a while until you know it well enough. Visualizingly, to be able to sing it in Tibetan while seeing the images. So I'm not giving you a definitive answer on that because there are multiple opinions out there. I gave you my opinion, but that's all it is, a series of nem stuck together by talk forming an opinion. It's transparent. Next question.
Do you know any teachers or students with connections to Newfoundland, Canada? It's a desert out here.
Hasn't Trumpa got a center out there?
Newfoundland?
No.
Yeah, see, that's way...
No. I do not. Do you have a lot of practitioners out there? You can start something. Next question.
Regarding the lung and eating beer and french fries, why the greasy food?
It drops the chi in your channels down into your gut. Greasy carbs. Especially root carbs. You know how you feel loggy after eating a lot of greasy carbs? It's an extreme opposite. That's where all the chi, which is in your case moving through channels which aren't wide and smooth enough to support that. You want to slow it down. You want to drop it downward so it's not shooting up here and causing twitchies. So you bring it down into the solar plexus gut area, and then you relax. So the alcohol in the beer relaxes you. The vitamin B in brewer's yeast, which is in unfiltered live beer, expands your channels, relaxes, and actually strengthens the walls of the channels. The root vegetable grounds. It's the element of earth. Potatoes are earth element very much. And the grease slows. Next question.
One of our Spanish viewers asks, being aware of self-delusion empties from meaning the mundane activities. Is there any point in doing them consciously? Or is that moral?
Not in consciously doing them, but in allowing them to occur. For example, without thinking or really worrying about it much, next time you have to pee, you're probably going to get up and go to the loo. Permit that to occur. Next time you are hungry, you are probably going, without contemplating or thinking about it over much, you're probably going to get up and go look in the fridge for something to eat. If you don't see anything ready to eat, you may decide to cook something. In this way, practical things of everyday life continue to occur. You will eat, sleep, and shit. Inevitably. Don't try to block the spontaneous arisings of doings. Next question.
Can you please speak to time practice and share your views on when glitches in the matrix and bleed-throughs increase? More duplicates, time folding occur, life appears holographic, etc.
You know, this is generally in the retreat working with phenomenon, which I'm not going to teach you right here. Refer you to the book Being at Ease with Illusion. If you want to read more about it, refer you to the retreat, which takes about a week, which I'll do with you from time to time. Basically, just don't pay it, no, never mind, keep going. These are nyams. They're experiences. They're signposts you're doing it right, but they're nothing to hang on to or make a big deal out of. Let it become ordinary. Next question.
Can you talk about shamatha?
Shine. Resting in stillness. A skill developable still and peaceful, relaxed and open, not grasping, not one-pointed focus, but simply a resting in open awareness, allowing any thought, feeling, or sensation arising to dissipate as it arises, without following any of them. That's Shine without an object. Many people find it easier to begin by acquiring a small, smooth, and uninteresting pebble and placing it where their gaze on a downward slant naturally falls, and resting their eyes on that while relaxing into stillness. There's not that much to say about it. And it's one of the things in that stillness that I can't talk from, so I have to keep jumping in and out to tell you about it. Lactong. Both sides of the piece of paper together, not just the blank side, which is shamatha. That I can talk from, but not from shine, not from stillness, because I have to have a thought to say it out loud. And there aren't any thoughts in shine. They don't last long enough to be noticed. Next question.
Are you going to start Vajrakalaya instructions soon?
When I am done with my summer and fall travels, in winter and spring, I believe. I'm so much in and out traveling now. Not this weekend, but the next one I'm off to Whidbey, where I'll do an in-person teaching. And after that, I think I'm doing a retreat in Canada. After that, elsewhere. So when I'm done traveling, then I'll open a new thing. Right now, there's just not enough time to get it going in one block. Next.
Let's see. I'm doing guru yoga practice for Dzogchen. Do I need to practice shamatha as well? Or is that a different method to the same destination?
Different method to the same destination. You work on guru yoga at this time. And allow your mind to merge with your teacher. Let them in. Let the blessing of open awareness in. Beyond thought, word, and deed, isness. Next question.
I've never met you in person, but will be at the Canada retreat. Are there any formalities for meeting a Lama, ways of respecting and honoring you during the retreat?
There's lots of them, except that I don't like most of them, personally, because I'm not like that. And didn't get raised as a tulku, thankfully. Knock on wood. So, offering katas is part of it. Just be polite according to your culture. That'll do. Next question.
If someone practices Tibetan Buddhism, do we continue on with these practices next life? What are the chances for us to uphold the continuation?
What are the chances you started last time? Quite high. Especially when a certain practice or scent or something catches your attention and it's like, Mama, there's my mama. That sense of recognition. So extremely high if you start practice in this life that it will continue next life, and extremely high that you started it last time and are continuing it this time. Next question.
How important is it to have the eyes open for traction? I often find patterns on carpets or objects in my line of view, making it hard to defocus. Also, when I'm falling asleep or when I wake up, it seems like it might be a good time to practice with eyes closed.
You may practice with eyes closed when you're falling asleep, but open them when you first wake up or you will fall back asleep. I speak from experience. It is quite important that you have them open, therefore change your environment so that there isn't a pattern on your carpet. Face a white wall, and in Trekcha you look straight ahead, not so much down unless you're having trouble with discursive thoughts, then you lower it a bit.
During the Canada retreat, should I expect to maintain my extraordinary nundro also?
Hell no. Canada retreat is outer body Rushen. Why are you coming to that? What do you hope to accomplish? Said to that person. Next question.
Okay, let me take a look here. Can you speak more about the best extent we can purify karma and how to?
Fastest and most effective way to purify karma is Trekcha. However, if you are not capable of Trekcha yet, Vajrasattva is pretty good. Next question.
Why is it when practicing Tumo, some practitioners lose weight and some gain weight?
Depends on where they are and how much they're eating. Usually, as you begin to practice Tumo, and as you advance, you would tend to burn more calories because you are up in the high mountains in very cold weather, and you're using your own body to heat yourself. So when that's happening, one would tend to drop some weight. You have to be careful not to drop too much. So high-calorie food is fed during the practice of Tumo. Now, if you were to try to learn Tumo at sea level in the summer, I would suspect that you would probably, if you were fed the usual food that is fed for doing Tumo, which is a very high-calorie, high-mountain diet, you would probably gain because you're not using those calories to keep warm. And a calorie is a unit of heat. So that would be my guess. It so much depends on the environment in which the practice is being done. It was designed, and the way it's taught traditionally is high mountain, high altitude, very cold weather, winter. And you do have to put in a lot of edible calories in order to maintain your health while doing it. One more question and then I might be getting tired.
Okay. How can we create and increase local community? Is it okay to spontaneously create an event and invite people to come and listen and practice together?
Of course. That's a wonderful thing to do. Check the astrology, get a Tibetan calendar, and make sure you're putting the event on an auspicious time. Absolutely you can do that. Everybody does that. Tibetans. Potluck picnic, Gana puja, hanging prayer flags together with a picnic. Have fun. And I think I want to say about the teaching that I have been asked to give in Canada this year for 3 weeks. That is the outer body Rushen. That is not a first teaching. That is a very difficult and advanced practice. You should not be coming to that if you are not ready. If you are not an experienced Dzogchen meditator, then that practice is not appropriate for you. It is not appropriate for tantrikas, whose main practice are yidam or nundro. It is not appropriate for people who are just beginning to try to get trekcha. Please come to Whidbey instead. That is an advanced practice that is inappropriate, and you'll do yourself a mischief if you're not ready for it. Talk to Jan, who is making the arrangements, if you're uncertain whether you're qualified or not.
The practitioner in Canada who's doing extraordinary nundro replied that they want to do the Canada retreat to deepen and more thoroughly stabilize their treksha.
Okay. As long as they've been doing treksha for a while. I just don't want people whose main practice is tantra or who are really just beginning at treksha to be doing that. It won't work. It'll be a distraction. And because that retreat is such a secret retreat, I can't separate you all into 2 groups and have one do one thing and one do the other. Well, we'll see how it goes. Anything popping that I need to do before we close?
Not really, unless you want to handle one more question.
Give me one more.
Okay. My ADHD makes Western ceremonial magic and therapy-style divinatory practices expedient. May these be useful auxiliary practices with right intent. I guess alongside Dzogchen practice?
Read me what those practices are again.
Western, in quotes, ceremonial magic and therapy-style divinatory practices.
I do not know I have a great distrust of a lot of the Western ceremonial magic. I am somewhat trained in Wicca, which is okay, but if you go for the Kabbalistic and Christian derivative with the angels and stuff and all those demons, really no, that does not go well with. Wiccan basic nature worship is fine. But once you start getting into angels and archangels, you're in trouble. I don't think that is copacetic with Dzogchen. I don't know what psychological divination is, since I know several forms of divination and they're all magic. And I know something of psychological therapy, but I have no idea how those would be the same thing, or how you could have a psychological therapeutic divination. So you got me confused here. From what I am guessing, I would say those are not good adjuncts, unless it's just your basic Wiccan nature worship and having basic some form of talk therapy that is helping you. Best I can give you there for the way you worded it. One more, if we've got one. I'd like to leave it on one I can answer better.
Okay. Let's see. Are there mantras or salon for arthritis?
No, but there is medicine. And you can use medicine Buddha to make the medicine work better. But as you can see from the condition of these knuckles, if there was, I'd probably have found it. There's a couple of Chinese devices you can use for massage on the knuckles that bring the chi and smooth the chi going through there. If you keep up with it, it helps. But that's, again, medical, rather than a direct mind salung practice. I have not found one that works for me, so I can't really refer you there. Oops. I'm drawing a poor track record today. Do I quit while I'm ahead or try for one more that I can answer?
Well, it's 12:30.
Quit while I'm ahead.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. I got you a lot of I don't knows on this one.
Well, you...
Like I said, I don't know everything. Just an old yogi. But I will share with you what I do know. Remember, guys, we're all in this together. And so any benefit created by our interaction today, Nge wandi nyurdudag chi chi sala ngopashu. May it be of benefit to all life. That all Buddhas, that all sentient beings recognize their own nature. We are complete.
Okay, you are offline.